Downing Street faces serious questions tonight over its handling of the behaviour of Patrick Rock, one of David Cameron's most senior aides, who resigned after being arrested on child pornography allegations. Newsnight has learned that he was the subject of sexual harassment complaints within Number 10 going back 18 months, but no action was taken against him. Our chief correspondent Laura Koensberg is here. Just how serious are these allegations?
Well, no Prime Minister wants to do what David Cameron had to do today, which was during a speech about austerity and tax cuts one day, was break off and make a statement saying that he was profoundly shocked about the fact that one of his closest advisors had been arrested on allegations of child pornography. There are two different areas where Downing Street is facing questions tonight, and let's just take them in turn. First of all, on how the departure of Mr. Rock was handled. Now, he was arrested on suspicion of child pornography offences. Computers in Downing Street looked at by the police in the middle of February, some time ago. And there's been suspicion tonight in Labour circles that Downing Street somehow sat on this information for several weeks because they were enjoying the furore around Harriet Harman, allegations over her and what who she worked for in the 1970s. Now, Downing Street have absolutely disputed that. They've said instead, the Prime Minister, as he said himself, they considered it would have been completely wrong for them to preemptively brief out details of a criminal investigation. But a lawyer I've spoken to tonight said actually, technically, there's no reason why they couldn't just have said, Patrick Rock, advisor at Downing Street, has had to leave his job.
But the other allegations are different, and they go back 18 months, I'm right?
They do. They go back 18 months and relating not to anything to do with child pornography, but allegations about how Mr. Rock behaved in Downing Street. Now, he was a close aide of the Prime Minister. He'd worked with him for decades, but not just him, also Ed Llewellyn, David Cameron's Chief of Staff. They worked together closely in Brussels back in the 1990s. Now, we understand that a complaint of sexual harassment was made by a female civil servant about 18 months ago against Mr. Rock. Ed Llewellyn, a close friend of Patrick Rock, was the person who dealt with looking at that complaint alongside a civil servant, her line manager. Now, that complaint, Downing Street say, was very seriously considered. Some action was taken. I understand the female civil servant was moved to a different part of Whitehall.
Wait a minute, what action? But no action was taken with Patrick Rock?
Well, what we understand is that the complainant was happy she consented to the action that had been taken after that investigation, but Downing Street are being very, very tight-lipped about just exactly what happened to Mr. Rock at that point. But one source who worked alongside Patrick Rock in Downing Street at that time told me he was never very popular. It was quite odd the way that he appeared in Number 10, but he was tolerated because he was so close to both men, to Ed Llewellyn as well as David Cameron himself. Downing Street are really insistent that they took this seriously at the time, but this is tricky territory, and not just because the unhelpful questions are a distraction, they take up political time and effort, but also because somehow it plays into a criticism that's often levelled at David Cameron, that somehow Number 10 is run by a group of chums. You've got to be in the in-gang to get anything done.
Laura, thank you very much indeed.